There are days when I look around my home and feel completely buried. Buried under dishes, under laundry, under mental checklists of everything that still needs to be done. It's like no matter how much I do, there's always something waiting, and sometimes I just sit there, staring at the mess, not even sure where to start. If you've ever felt that kind of overwhelm, that heavy, quiet weight that settles over your shoulders while you're wiping down the counters or folding clothes for the 5th time that week, you're not alone. Homemaking can be beautiful, yes, but it can also be exhausting. This isn't a post full of perfection or polished routines. It's just one woman in her lived-in home sharing what helps when the stress starts to build. These are the new perspectives, little reminders, and practical shifts that have helped me feel less buried and more like myself, even in the middle of the mess. There are days when I wake up and the list is already waiting for me. Not on paper, but in my head. The floor that hasn't been mopped. That one drawer that's been overstuffed for 2 months. Laundry, dinner, bills, errands, dust, clutter, again. And somehow, even though I've done this all before, it still feels like too much. That's the truth about homemaking. It's quiet, invisible work that never truly ends. It's not just the cleaning or the cooking. It's the managing of everything. The atmosphere, the meals, the memories, the moods. And some days, it's just plain overwhelming. One of the lies that creeps in when I'm worn down is that I must be doing something wrong. That if I were more organized or better at time management, I wouldn't feel this way. But here's the truth I remind myself on those heavy days. You're not failing. You're just tired. Tired from showing up every day. Tired from keeping the household running. Tired from caring so deeply for your home and everyone in it. Homemaking asks so much of us and rarely stops to say thank you. That's why we have to be the ones to give ourselves grace. Not someday, but today. It's not just the to-do list that gets heavy. It's the emotional weight of trying to do it all and do it well. We want to keep things clean and cozy. We want homemade meals and peaceful evenings. We want to be present, grateful, creative, available, all while folding laundry and answering texts and remembering what to defrost for dinner. And when everything feels important, it's hard to know where to begin. Over the years, I've learned a few things that help me breathe again when the overwhelm starts to take over. These are the tools and shifts that keep me grounded, and maybe they'll help you too. When everything feels like too much, I stop and ask, what's one thing I can do right now? Sometimes it's washing the dishes. Sometimes it's lighting a candle and sitting down for 5 minutes. Other times, it's starting dinner prep early so the evening runs smoother. One thing, then another. That's how I move forward. Some days, a clean house means the clutter is off the floor and the counters are wiped down. That's enough. Some weeks, dinner is simple. A skillet of scrambled eggs and toast with a side of fresh fruit. That's enough. Some seasons, I don't decorate like I used to. That's okay too. I stopped holding myself to standards that were never mine to begin with. A tidy, joyful, welcoming home doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs peace. And peace doesn't come from perfection. When I feel the tension rising, I do something small to shift the mood. I turn on soft music. I light a candle or diffuse oils. I open a window. I make myself a cup of tea. I say a quick prayer out loud. Sometimes the environment is the first thing that needs care, not the to-do list. I know not everyone talks to Jesus while vacuuming, but I do, and it helps more than I can say. When I feel like the load is too heavy, emotionally or physically, I've started saying it out loud. Lord, I'm tired. Please help me see what matters most right now. There's peace in handing over what I can't carry. When I shift my perspective from what I have to do to what I get to do, everything softens. I get to make meals for the ones I love. I get to create a space that feels like home. I get to fold the clothes of people who still need me. It's not always easy, but it's deeply meaningful. And when I stop long enough to notice the beauty in the ordinary, my soul exhales. On the really overwhelming days, it helps me to lean into a few simple habits that keep my feet on the ground. One of the first things I do is narrow my focus by picking just 3 things that must get done today. Not 10, not everything, just 3. If I get anything extra done, that's just a bonus. But giving myself permission to keep it simple has made such a difference. Another thing that helps is preparing something early in the day. It could be something small, like chopping vegetables for dinner, pulling meat from the freezer to thaw, or even just setting out clothes ahead of time. Having one step already done makes the rest of the day feel smoother and less rushed. And then there's the 10-minute reset. I'll set a timer and just do what I can. A quick pickup, wiping down the counters, tossing the trash. When the timer goes off, I stop. It's amazing how much better everything feels after just 10 focused minutes. Even when the rest of the house is chaotic, I try to keep one space clear, just one. It might be a kitchen counter or my favorite chair. Having that little pocket of calm reminds me that peace is still possible, even when everything else feels loud. Finally, before bed, I take a moment to reflect on something I'm grateful for. One small thing, a laugh I had, a task I finished, the way the sunlight looked through the curtains. Ending the day with gratitude doesn't make everything perfect, but it helps me rest in what went right instead of getting stuck in what didn't. There are days when I look around my home and feel completely buried under dishes, under laundry, under mental checklists of everything that still needs to be done. It's like no matter how much I do, there's always something waiting, and sometimes I just sit there, staring at the mess, not even sure where to start. If you've ever felt that kind of overwhelm, that heavy, quiet weight that settles over your shoulders while you're wiping down the counters or folding clothes for the 5th time that week, you're not alone. Homemaking can be beautiful, yes, but it can also be exhausting. This isn't a post full of perfection or polished routines. It's just one woman in her lived-in home, sharing what helps when the stress starts to build. These are the new perspectives, little reminders, and practical shifts that have helped me feel less buried and more like myself, even in the middle of the mess. So if today feels heavy, if your to-do list is longer than your patience, and the house feels more chaotic than comforting, take a breath. You're not behind. You're not alone. You're just living real life, and you're doing it with heart. Homemaking isn't about having it all together. It's about showing up one messy, beautiful, grace-filled day at a time. It's about loving your people through the laundry piles and choosing peace even when the floor is sticky. Let the dishes wait a little. Wrap up in a blanket. Light a candle if you need a reset. And remind yourself, progress is still progress, even when it's small. Thanks for spending this time with me. Until next time, be kind to your home, but be even kinder to yourself.